Today on Conscious Beauty, we explore the space between who we are and who we're meant to become. Conscious Beauty exists as a conversational ritual within Kinnery, a space and a lifestyle brand devoted to elevation of the mind, body, and soul, guiding us back to our most aligned, powerful, and divine self. I'm joined today by Daniela Ghiglieri, founder of Emerald Consulting, who has helped build million-dollar businesses while navigating her own evolution. Daniela teaches us that success isn't just strategy, it's identity. It's the courage to step into an alter ego, a higher embodiment of self, even when confidence hasn't come up yet. In this conversation, we unpack the illusion of limitation, the power of self-concept, and what it truly means to rise into the version of you that already exists within, waiting to be claimed. Thank you so much, Daniela, for joining me on the Conscious Beauty podcast.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be a part of this. When I met Carla, she was just an amazing being in this world. And so when she asked me to be a part of this, I said, of course, right away.
Oh, thank you. I'm so honored.
Yeah.
Daniela, you are a fireball. You have accomplished so much at such a young age. I would love to get a little bit of your backstory, kind of just like, how you grew up and what made you become so successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I will say a lot of my success, I feel, or my drive to achieve this success does come from having to grow up very fast at a young age. So taking it all the way back, I am the oldest of six in a blended family. And I grew up, my parents at a young age, they had me at a young age, and they separated when I was very, very young as well. So I grew up in multiple households and had to learn how to mold to that. And I moved a lot growing up as well. I went to like 12 different schools. So I was always having to be a butterfly and a chameleon. Like I had to learn how to adapt to different environments, be around, different family. One of my households spoke Spanish. So I was, I grew up Latina and Italian. So I was with my grandmother as well. So for me, I feel like my brain had to expand quickly at a young age. So I feel that actually was such a big part of why I am who I am. And soon after that, my parents got remarried and they had children outside of that as well. And so I, then fast forward to having to help my mom. She was a single mom as well through these different marriages, and having to help my mom raise my closest in age to me sister. So the oldest closest in age to me. And, going through all of that taught me a lot about life, taught me a lot about perseverance. My mom started also from corporate world and working her way up, and really just did everything for us and taught us and showed us that, break glass ceilings. You can do anything that you put your mind to. You just never give up. And same, with a father figure that grew up, growing and growing and being an entrepreneur as well. But I would say a lot of who I am is a testament to the life I went through. And a big driver for me, without getting too, well, we can get deep into it if you really want me to, but I went through a lot growing up, and my big driver for my current success is that I never want my future children to go through what I went through. So I want to build a legacy. I want to build that for my future family. And my mom and I have been the black sheep of our family. And we're the first ones to break out of that, what you call generational curses, where, you have to stay within this mold. You have to follow this in order to have stability and success. Don't take too many risks. Don't go outside of your box too much because it's too risky. And this is just the safe way to do it. And I believe, my mom, basically, I grew up with her because she had me at such a young age. And we always felt like we were different, and we wanted to achieve more. We wanted to dream more. And even if that meant that we were the black sheep of the family, we were okay with that. And now it's taken us to where we are today. And I grew up in San Francisco and I moved to Southern California. It'll be 11 years this year, which is so crazy.
Oh,
I moved here when I was 20, and I had, with every last dollar I had in my pocket, and I just wanted to start my own life and really prove, I guess, some people wrong, because I grew up and I was having fun living my life, but I always knew I was meant for more. At the age of 17, I went to my very first motivational conference and I was trying to figure out who I was and what I wanted to do. And when I was impacted by that person on stage, I knew that I wanted to create impact just like that person was creating it for me. And so I kind of made that my mission in life, to just go after all my dreams. Did I know what I wanted to do yet? No, not necessarily, but I started in direct sales and a lot of motivational conferences. And when I was 20, I wanted to move down here and had an opportunity to with a really close friend of mine. And I just did it. I just said, I know that I have the personality, I know I have the drive, I know I won't let myself fail. So I got up and I moved down here. And ever since then, the rest has been history. And then the health and wellness industry fell into my lap. I went through a big fitness journey. And throughout that journey, I had a business fall into my lap that someone wanted me to be a part of. And I started out there, and that's how I got into the aesthetics and wellness industry. It was a beauty spa that was a one-room little suite. And we grew into a multi-million dollar med spa. And I pretty much just applied everything that I was passionate about, which was making true connections and helping people transform. So even though what I do is very business focused and very much so operations, structure, sales, marketing, my true core purpose in life is to just help people. And I've always been, I think, growing up as that chameleon, I've always been a safe space for people, and people open up to me very easily. And so when I got to step into this wellness aesthetic space, you are transforming people, and it's not just aesthetically. When you help someone achieve this next level confidence, it helps so much more than just what they look like, right? It helps you
yes.
feel better about yourself. It makes you believe that you can achieve these things, because you believe in yourself, and that's where it all starts. So growing up, I had a lot of those limiting beliefs. And when I went through my fitness journey, it helped me break out of those limiting beliefs. And so going into the aesthetics and wellness industry, I got a chance to learn how to give body treatments to people, come up with transformation plans for them. And so we grew this business off of, for me, pure connection and authenticity, with business structure, of course, as well. And that's where my path continued. And I felt like I was really making a change. And from there, we grew into this big two-story med spa. And soon after that, a lot of people wanted me to help them with their businesses. So I decided to move on to consulting as of 3.5 years ago now. And I help people with fractional COO work. But I thought about it and I said, okay, if I can do this in one location, I if I do this as a consultant, fractional COO, my motto is, if I can do this here, I can instill this into multiple businesses, the experience that I give people, and actually end up helping more people that way. So even though what I do is strategy and duplication and sales, it actually is more about creating an experience that I know makes people feel better, look better, and thrive. Because what I put together for these wellness centers and med spas is focused on that. How can we help your patients, clients, customers feel and look their best so that they keep coming back? And then in turn, they're feeling better. So,
I think that's amazing because I consider myself a spiritual entrepreneur, but
mhm,
I'm very much in this material world. And I
mhm.
like all material things, beauty, makeup, heels, you name it, leggings, toxic leggings, even though one day I'm going to make the most non-toxic collection ever. But I do have a hard time blending both worlds where I can stay centered with my left brain, my right brain, and my heart and become financially successful in this matrix, so to speak, right? And
Yeah.
I think people like you who understand many elements to running a business, but you also understand a person like me. You can see my vision, even though it may not be your exact vision, but you can really respect, my what I come with, right? And what I like about you is that you're able to take that and then plug in the gaps where
Right.
we all have gaps. So it doesn't matter if you're a spiritual entrepreneur or, someone who's very much not even caring about their spirituality. You know what gaps need to be filled. So I
Oh,
really respect that.
oh yeah. No, thank you. It's true. And a lot of the time, like you said, some people don't care about that spirituality, but energy is energy, right? And I can see where their energy is within their business, what they believe they can accomplish. Like we go back to that belief system and, having that confidence, having that belief, having the good energy, even in a consultation or when you walk in the door, I tell people, you're in your car and you literally hold on to your steering wheel when you're driving to work and say, today's going to be the most amazing day ever. Like, tell yourself these things, empower yourself. So, in a way, I am coaching them with a little bit of energy work and spirituality within their business, but it's because it's all about that. And you have to have that internal belief system in order to be able to achieve these next level things.
It is so true. Belief system is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that when I met you, I learned that you had a company called Alter Ego,
Mm-hmm.
and you speak about stepping into your alter ego. What illusion had a break within you before you understood that that was possible to find your alter ego and to connect with it?
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to knowing that I had to step into that highest version of myself in order to accomplish everything that I needed to do. And, I've worked with a lot of different spiritual coaches and a lot of different people. And I had to break some old belief systems in order to get there. I have always had like this fear, like I had to let go of the fear. And there's a lot of fear when making big changes in your life. And it's funny because when you first talk to me, you're like, what do you mean you're not confident? What do you mean you're scared? Like you were 20 years old and you packed your bags and you moved across the state with like no plan. And what do you mean you left a six-figure career in a drop of a dime because you knew that you were just meant to shift and all of these things? But I knew that there was something inside of me that was just like always on fire. And the only person that could make that happen is me. And when I created Alter Ego, I knew that when you look at alter ego, it's like you think about it being, it's almost like been a joke, like, oh, my alter ego is coming out tonight, right? But then you
Yeah.
think about it on a larger level and you're like, wait, alter ego is whatever version of you that you want to be. So you have to step into that version. And I looked at, you can even look it up. There was, one term that said that, or definition of the term said that superheroes have an alter ego. Like when superheroes are being a superhero versus the real human that they are, that's their alter ego. So that's stepping into that highest version of themselves. So that was just something that really resonated with me. And I was like, it's really up to me to step into that when I know there's a fire inside of me and no one else can bring that out.
It's true because I feel like whenever we have a vision or desire that's given to us, so we think that that is something separate from us and we can't do that. But why would we have that vision in the first place? Why would we have that desire in the first place if that wasn't already within us? And I think that it's that separation part of it that's the key to understanding that it's not separate. We are that, period. So that big, your whatever dream, as wild as it can be, that is absolutely possible. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think connecting to that highest version of you or understanding that it's possible
Mhm.
is everything.
Yes, and I think that's where like my strategy brain, my logic brain comes into play where okay, if you can see the vision, it's attainable. And then now it's just, I don't think that people don't believe it can happen. It's more that they don't know how to get there.
Very true.
I think that maybe not for everyone, but that's just what I see,
Mhm.
especially in business. And I think that correlates to, for me, I'm a visionary, but I also know how to execute the vision. And some people do have a vision, but they don't know how to execute. So that's where I come in with my work is I can help you bring that vision to life and I can show you the steps to get there so that you believe that there's a bridge to get there. So alter ego, my brand, is one of the taglines is bridging the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. So that's exactly what this is you have this alter ego, you have this big picture, but you don't know how to get there. And sometimes it doesn't make sense. But once you have it laid out for you and structured for you, it makes sense because you know where to step next, where to go next, and what bridge to cross or not cross. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of funny how both of my businesses do that. So with Alter Ego, we have the wellness products that can help you actually increase neuroplasticity in your mind and your brain actually starts to rewire itself. And then with my consulting company, we actually build the structure and the steps for you to get there so you can lean into your alter ego and believe that you can.
I love that. That's very comforting because I feel like as an entrepreneur myself, it's very lonely. And I think that we need to do everything, but it's impossible. So finding someone like you, showing you the next steps, it's like we can't do it alone.
Yeah.
So I think that's really where you know, you're really benefiting this world by helping people achieve that. I think it's incredible and I'm sign me up because I need your help.
Yeah, and I love it. I got you, girl. But yeah, and it's just I hate I don't want to use the word hate, I'm sorry. I really dislike the motto that people use that it's lonely at the top. And I don't believe that. I don't think that it necessarily is lonely at the top unless you put yourself in that position, right? You just have to surround yourself with the right people at the top, and it's not so lonely. And that goes back to you saying, feeling alone and feeling like you have to do it alone. And I think that's ego, though. That's also ego that is stopping you from allowing others into your space or your business or whatever you're trying to achieve is your ego stopping you because you have like pride, right? And this is actually something I'm going through or have gone through as well as I have a lot of pride in being self-made. I have a lot of pride in I've never taken handouts. I've never had to have any kind of extra support, specifically financially. I've done this all on my own and I have a lot of pride in that. But I am now stepping into wait a minute, I have resources around me that can get me there faster. And I need to let go of that ego. Like I have done it so far by myself. It doesn't mean I need to continue doing it by myself. And so, no matter what stage in your life that you're in, you experience this. And sometimes you feel like it's only when you're starting, but it's every single time you're preparing yourself for the next level that you have to continue to shed layers, let go of egos, let go of pride, because you don't need to do it alone and you need to grab onto those resources or whatever layers that are needed so that you can get there faster. Otherwise, you're hindering yourself. And that's something I had to just face honestly this last week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because it's because I'm building a lot of things right now and next level and I try to do it on my own and I can't. I'm one person,
Yes. Mhm.
And I did that last year too when I was a one-man show and now I have a team that I finally brought on and now I don't even know what I would do without them.
Yeah. No,
So,
very true.
you got to let that ego go.
Yeah, no. And you had mentioned that you worked with spiritual coaches before. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I have some friends that they've become my really, really good friends. But yes, I have worked with some coaches before, and they help me with breaking through these barriers with doing different workshops or different, what would you call them? Like, it's like a program. So week by week, I would go through and they would give me different shadow work to work on and things to break through. And we would, really work through what my blocks were, where my ego was blocking me specifically, and how to let that go. And really also tying it back into my childhood. A lot of things, of course, as we know, are rooted from our childhood experiences. One of them for me does have to do with money, hence why I think that I have this ego around doing it on my own. Is, growing up with not much and then finally having success, and you have this fear. So for me, I worked with some coaches that helped me break through that and gave me a lot of shadow work. So every day I would journal morning and night with different prompts that would allow me to release things. I would write letters to people and release them, make sure I go to the beach and reset myself, and also just work through different even manifestation programs. I've done it all. I've done self-help ones, I've done ones for manifestation and money, I've done ones for just personal development and growth. I've attended the conferences, I've done the Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within. I talk about that one a lot because that's a crazy experience. Talk about out of your comfort zone.
I've been wanting to do that. I love Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
He
he's
is
amazing because he's,
definitely the top that has changed my life or helped
yeah.
change my life.
Yeah, it's just finding what your groove is and what works for you.
Hmm.
And for me, it has been working through that. Spirituality was introduced to me. I've done a lot of Reiki as well and a lot of breath work and things like that. But Reiki specifically was actually introduced to me, gosh, probably 6 years ago now. And that's when I was going through a major transition in my life. And so it started with Reiki, and then it started with, readings, and then it went into shadow work and just really tapping into my energy. So to go way, way back, so I come from a Latin derived family and Catholic as well. And spirituality and this stuff is not accepted. However, my great grandmother was very much so spiritual, and it was kind of on the hush hush. But my aunt knew, and other people, my close family knew, and she was very much into that. And I feel like I was meant to bring that back out in my family because I'm the first person to tap back into that, and everyone else around me has suppressed it. So it just naturally felt right to me. And I got a mediumship reading, and I didn't ask for anyone to come forward, and she did. And it was the craziest, coolest thing ever.
No,
Mm-hmm.
I
I
love
didn't know what to
that.
expect. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. And I had a mediumship reading gifted to me for my birthday like 4 years ago. And I had never met this woman. So it was but someone that one of my friends knew that had done mediumship, but she personally didn't know me when I booked this reading. And she was so on point with so many things. And my great grandmother came to me and told me to tell my family all of these things that they needed to know, but I was doing just fine. She's like, you're just meant to be the one that actually makes the changes in your family.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So,
Like you're gonna have to give me that medium's information because I really need a reading.
yeah. Yeah. So, I've tapped into all the different sources, but yes, it was amazing. And I guess it has fallen into my lap, and I've used it to empower me and just send me the messages that I need when I feel like I need them. But, for me, it's been working on my personal growth so I can step into my alter ego and let go of that old ego that keeps holding me back.
So when you come across a company or entrepreneur who is wanting to restructure their business and maybe they're failing, do you notice certain things, certain characteristics that are common amongst all the companies or people you've come across? Is there some one thing that is like the common thread?
Yeah, actually, I would say confidence is a huge one, and really believing in what they're doing, but it's rooted from believing in themselves. Yeah, I would say confidence. A lot of it, though, is structure, the lack of structure and accountability. So even when it comes to your spiritual growth, you have to have structure and accountability around it. You can't just, write in a journal one day and then expect your whole life to change. You have to do it consistently. There's one book and journal that I love. It's called Project 369. You're actually supposed to do it 2 to 3 times a day.
Oh,
And it just shows that your spiritual growth it's all about consistency no matter what you're doing. And so people lack consistency. It's not even discipline, it's just the consistency in doing things over and over again and believing that they can achieve it by consistently doing it. And so it's almost those two together. And if you're not consistently doing something, it's not going to work. And then your confidence will drop.
yes.
So it is totally correlated to each other. And that's what I see the most. They're like, well, I've been following this. I said, but have you? To like actually been following every step? Have we actually been maximizing every way that we can? So I think we overwhelm ourselves with a lot when it comes to business and people trying to do everything by themselves and not let go of that ego and be willing to let other people in to help them. And when building a business, it's delegation as well. Having a team come in and being able to delegate those things, and you have to trust that you can be a leader for those people. And I think sometimes it's that shift too, is it's not so much believing that they can do their job, it's believing that you can be a leader for them to do their job. So at the end of the day, when you're a business owner, you're responsible for everything. It's your business. So how can you turn it back to you and say, okay, something's not working. What do I need to do better?
Absolutely. It always starts at the top.
Mhm.
I love the concept of being a leader and what that really means. I think that you can see within other companies that are very successful how it works with, the CEOs, the CFOs, and from there it trickles down. And I think great leadership is hard to come by. I think it's really a skill.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It is. It
Hmm.
is, and it's rooted in rooted in belief systems and how you project your energy to people,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
being able to be dynamic. And I think some people have a hard time with that. And that's why it's also good to find a coach that maybe can help you work through that and figure out where your strengths and weaknesses are. Because sometimes, as CEOs or business owners, we try to operate as the one that can do everything, but we're not operating with our strengths, which then affects our business. It's all a reflection of ourselves, right? So, and what's funny about business is that this can relate to anything. It's not just business. Think about love, think about relationships, right? It's like if you're constantly trying to be someone that you're not in your relationship, that's not going to work, you
For
know?
sure not.
So it's the same. These are skills that apply across the board. You just kind of have to think about it in a very open mind to know that it can apply in many, many ways.
Did you ever read that book, The Slight Edge?
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's a great book, but it's about being consistent, and those small steps taken over a long period of time makes crazy changes,
Hmm.
right? The
Yeah.
compound effect.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, just going back to being consistent as a leader, you have to remain consistent in what in your values, right? You have to remain consistent in your belief, in your vision, right?
Yeah.
You can't be wishy-washy because the people you're leading won't support you in that.
100%. Because they look to you for stability. It's like people think the opposite of what it actually is. So you look to your team for stability, but really they're looking to you. Like you are the core of your business. So you have to have stability within yourself. You have to have consistency, and that will reflect. So it's always the opposite. of what people typically think. It's like, no, it's actually this way, not that way. And that's what I find a lot of. It's just the accountability and the consistency is projected onto others versus like turning it back to yourself. And that's spirituality, that's personal development. We project or we think like this is happening to me because that over there, or this is happening to me because of X, Y, and Z, or I'm feeling this way because of someone else. You have to turn it back to yourself always. Everything goes back to you because you're the only person that can change your own life. You are your own being, and you can change the direction of that at any time. So that's how you can correlate it to business, but more so tapping into that alter ego at all times.
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Do you believe that the alter ego is something we create, or do you think it's just something that's innately in us?
I think that your alter ego is something you have to pull out of yourself. And it is in you, but you can also create your alter ego. I think your traits and who you are, you're born with a certain energy, you're born with a certain ability to do things. But I also think that your alter ego can be created over time once you're discovering yourself, because I've turned into like a completely different person since I was 20 years old. So if you asked me this when I was 20, now I'm 31, going to be 32, I would probably never believe that I would be where I am right now, like at all. When I moved here, I never thought, I didn't think I'd be doing what I'm doing specifically. I created this person.
Mhm.
But going back to like when I was 17, I knew that there was always something special inside of me. I just didn't know what that was yet. So I guess it's pulling it out of yourself and peeling the layers back to find that true core inside of you and that true purpose. But you kind of have to create it on the way. So I feel like it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I agree. And also, when you come across mentors or people that you admire, I think that also influences it.
Yes.
And you know what I mean? And then, like, as you evolve, then you find even greater people to admire and want to be like, not to, try to copy them, but in terms of just what inspires you. I mean, I have a ton of them. Every time I see a successful, amazing, remarkable woman, I'm like, oh my God, I love what she does. I want to be like that. You know,
Of
even
course.
men too, even men too.
Yeah, and that's good. It's good to do that, and I think that's a great trait to have. Instead of knocking it down, you're really projecting good energy onto it, and you're absorbing. I always say to always be a student. The best way to see phenomenal growth is to constantly be a student, constantly be okay with being the smallest person in the room. And that's a huge thing that I attribute to my success is I'm not afraid to be the smallest person in the room. I actually force myself to put myself in those places, because if I'm constantly the biggest person in the room, how am I going to grow and evolve? Because you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone in order to achieve that growth.
Absolutely. 100%. Although it's fun to be the biggest person in the room sometimes. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, well, it is, of course. It is fun too.
I'm only
Like
kidding.
our ego has to get stroked sometimes, I guess.
That sounded terrible. I'm only
No,
kidding,
no,
everybody.
no, no.
So, how do you hold space for being both powerful but still feeling uncertain? Because I know, like you just said, you went through something this week, or was it last week? Every time I've talked to you, actually, you're like, I just went through something, but then you seem like you have it all together, you know?
Yeah,
So,
it's life.
yeah,
Life is ever evolving, and when you are someone that is very determined to grow, you will constantly be peeling layers back, because the only way you're going to grow is by peeling them back. When you grow, you experience change, and change is hard because it can create temporary instability.
very
So the
true.
unknown, and that's scary. And that's what stops most people. The unknown, fear, whatever you want to call it, but usually the unknown creates that fear.
No, 100%. I mean, I deal with that every day, with running Kinnery. It's all unknown. I have nothing
Yeah.
that I can rely on
Hmm.
for a true answer of what is to be. And what
Right.
I've realized is a long time ago, I was always trying to find a partner, right? I always saw, these women who had two partners in a company and they were so successful. And I thought to myself, oh, I want that. How fun, how amazing. And I
Yeah.
could never find that partner I was looking for until one day I realized that my partner was God. Now, to some people that may sound a little corny. I
Yeah.
don't care. And God, however you want to call God, the universe source.
Right.
But it was really a true realization. And every time I feel, when I said before, sometimes it could be lonely. So when I start to feel lonely, I automatically remember, you know what? God has an infinite supply of everything I need. And I just have to believe it and
Yeah.
trust myself that I
Yeah.
can get through this hardship, whatever it is. As a
Right.
CEO, whatever I'm struggling with, like, how am I going to
Mhm.
pay that bill kind of
Right.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
that has really helped me just when you're talking about the belief in yourself, for me, it's a belief in myself, but in the end, I believe in a higher power.
Right.
But not everybody has to believe that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, when you said like how I work through what I'm going through, constantly shedding layers, I think that I just accept and I know that this is a part of the process. And God and the universe, those two things put together are my belief systems too. And so I lean into that and I know that I have to trust. And first and foremost for me, because my roots are from self confidence and, knowing that I've always been okay and trusting in myself and going back to turning it back to myself every single time. So these things that I go through and have to release, I always just sit and I close my eyes and I just say, okay, I know everything will be okay and keep moving forward. The only way that you fail is if you give up. And so far, we haven't done that. So we have gone through trials and tribulations, but it hasn't failed, right?
Yes.
And failure some people can say certain things that have happened to them count as failure. For me, I don't, because if you at least can look at yourself 5 years ago and now, and if you are in a better place, then that means we didn't fail. But sometimes there's little mini things that can happen that feel like failure, but that's temporary,
Yeah.
right? So if we can do that in the last 5 years, then we're good. We just got to keep going.
I
But
love that.
thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of things that keep me going, and I think it's just that inner drive for me to really build that legacy that I talked about earlier. And I know what I want, and I know what I'm capable of. I just have to keep believing in myself and know that I'm surrounding myself with the right people. That's a big part of it too, is having the right support system around you, because your support system also is an influence on your belief system.
Very true. I totally agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the more you're aligned with your vision, the more and your belief, right? The more you're centered in it, the
Hmm.
more people you attract that are going to support that.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
that's
Exactly.
yes.
And
Hmm.
people will fall away that aren't supposed to be there too.
Yes.
And being okay with that. I used to be a big people pleaser and I would never
Hmm.
put myself first. And I think just growing up, I wasn't able to put myself first. And I realized that that's something that you also have to do, is put yourself first. What do you believe? What do you know is true to you? And move forward with that.
Yes. I love that. What does embodiment mean to you?
Embodiment. Well, I feel like embodiment is truly believing that you are who you say you are. And showing up as that. So showing up as that person that you say you are and believing that that is who you are.
I remember I took one of your master classes. It was a short one, and you were working with somebody who taught about embodiment. That word embodiment and what that really means is something that I've been pondering for a long time, because I think it's really important that people understand what that is. I don't think people truly understand what it means to embody something, because everyone, a lot of people, I should say, they're trying to do all these things, trying to be this, trying to be successful, trying to, have it together, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if they're doing it for themselves or they're doing it for some type of a performance. We all struggle with that in general, being a human being in this materialistic world. Are we performing? Like, who are we? I ponder these questions, right?
Yeah.
But embodying something that goes back to leadership, because when you truly embody what you believe, what you feel is the right thing, your virtues, you don't have to say anything. You just command it, and it just fills up a room when you walk into that room. When you're in a meeting, when you come across somebody at a party, whatever it is, it's like an energy. It's like its own entity,
Mhm.
right? And I have a son, and I'm raising him, and I realize that he doesn't listen to anything that I say, but he sees what I am.
Yeah.
So even though, of course, I'm going to try to discipline him and do all of that, just as a leader would in a company, right? Try to
Right.
manage people. I know for a fact that I'm setting the foundation. And even if he goes astray and does what a typical teenager boy would do, I know that because of my virtues and the things that I do myself every day, I know that's going to subconsciously build the foundation within him
Right.
for later on in life. And you talked about that growing up, what you were raised around, but you had the influence of your mother and possibly your grandmother that subconsciously allowed you to kind of like soak up whatever they were embodying,
Yeah.
right?
No, that's very, very true. Yeah, it's believing it, yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. That energy is transferable when you embody something. So it's other people believing it too. And they see it and they believe it. So it's action versus words
Mm-hmm.
and then energy. So are you actually projecting that energy? Are you actually embodying that, right? So for me, it's embodying what I have a hard time embodying is my femininity, being feminine. So right now, I'm working through that. How do I embody being feminine? I feel that with what I do for work, I have to be very masculine. But do I? Right? So it's learning that I have to embody being feminine when I'm constantly embodying being masculine. And I think the way you can discover if you're embodying that is how people are perceiving you. And
True. Mm-hmm.
that's how at least with what I'm going through, that's what I've experienced is people are perceiving me in a masculine way. That means I'm embodying my masculine, not my feminine. So what energy are you projecting?
So you mentioned you are working on changing that. How are you doing that? How are you working on changing that? If you don't mind me asking you.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm still working on it.
That's
No,
a
I'm
lot
just
of women, a lot of women are at this time.
Yeah, and it's not that I have to change who I am. I would never I know I have a masculine energy about me, but I think just learning how to soften my edges, not always having to have the answer, not always having to be the one to take action first, not always having to, yeah, have all the answers to everything, take action and be so like it's almost like type A almost, right? It's just kind of calming myself and letting others take the wheel, even if it might not go perfectly if you don't take the wheel. I've been working on being by myself. I go to the beach, I just release things and just know that it's trusting too. I feel that being in my feminine or being in my masculine, it's that fear that I don't let go of and that unknown. But just stepping into that and allowing people to do things for me and asking for help, those are things that are, to me, stepping more into my feminine personally.
Hmm.
I feel like I always have to take care of everybody and everything. And I do. I mean, I'm taking care of multiple businesses at once. I'm taking care of multiple people at all times. When I'm like a firewoman, like I'm putting out fires all day long. So it's a very masculine thing. For me, it's been hard because my career, forces me to be in that masculine sometimes, especially because as a woman, I'm at conference tables and sitting at tables with a lot of men, and I'm often the only woman. And I have to like almost like prove myself in some way. But I'm learning to take a step back and use my feminine as a superpower instead. I feel like every group of men in business, they actually should have a woman there to break up that energy.
Sometimes that could be problematic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes that causes drama. So, with that being said, how do you hold space for both being powerful but still feeling uncertain, even though you have to put on that show, so to speak, that you have it all figured out? When you're coming across, let's say, a business owner, they're relying on you for this guidance. But what if you feel like a little uncertain?
Mhm.
How do you deal with that?
Well, a lot of the things that I've gone through with uncertainty actually have to do with myself. It doesn't necessarily have to do with me being uncertain on how I can help someone. It's more
Mhm.
for my own personal development and me believing in myself for that next level. That's more so where the uncertainty comes in as far as me, but I don't know. I don't claim to know the answers to everything with my clients either. So if I'm not certain about something, I'm pretty transparent about that, and I try to find the resource and find the answer for them and know that I am in support to get those right answers. But is that what you mean?
Yeah, because like sometimes, you know, for myself, I always feel like I have to know what I'm doing,
Oh, yeah.
with my just with my company. Like I have to know what I'm doing, and if I'm in any kind of meeting or whatever it is, I know I have it all together, But sometimes, truthfully, I don't.
Yeah.
Internally, it's like I'm like, okay, I'm going to find the answer. Oh my God, oh my God. Hopefully, nobody finds me out.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but you know what I mean?
We all do that a little bit, of course.
Okay.
If there's, yeah, I mean, if I truly feel like I really don't know how I'm going to find the answer to this, or I really don't have a solution to this,
Yeah.
how can we do this together? How can we figure this out together to find a
Yeah.
solution? But I mean, in business, most of the time, we don't know what we're doing. We're just trying it out. It's trial and error. We're beta testing things. And I say that a lot, actually, when I'm working with my clients, when we're trying to restructure or build something, especially from the ground up. You have to know that you're beta testing things at all times. You can change the trajectory of your business at any moment. Like, look at COVID, what it did to people's businesses. We had to pivot very quickly and go virtual and figure things out. How do we make money? So when it comes to business, I think it's finding confidence and trusting yourself over anything. That is the most important, because when it comes to the material side of it and the strategy and marketing campaign, will this work? Will this not work? Will this partnership work? Will it not work? It could not work. None of it could work. Your whole CRM system, this podcast can shut down at any moment and you don't have no idea why. Right. So I think it's just being okay and acknowledging that you might have to pivot, but right now, this is what makes sense.
So when do you like look at a company and you kind of see like maybe the owner is really struggling in with internal conflict. You know, they really don't have the confidence. They want to do it, but they're kind of feeling low. They feel like they're failing. Do you come into the situation and see, you know what, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. This, you know, this owner is never going to make this happen. Are there ever moments that you come across that kind of situation or
Yeah, absolutely.
really?
Yeah, there has been times where we're working through something and they
Mhm.
really, it's like they say they really want it, but I can tell that it's actually not benefiting them. And we're working through it. A lot of the time it does have to do with the numbers too, and
Mhm.
the time and energy, and then discovering this is actually not helping you. It's not just not energetically helping you, it's also not financially making sense, which it's funny how usually the two correlate.
Interesting. Okay.
I see that happen a lot when it comes to something that's not working. The energy is usually not there. I actually see this a lot, not even in business owners, but employees specifically that aren't performing.
Mhm.
Typically, the employees that aren't performing are the ones that when I meet with them one on one, I can tell that their energy and their own life outside of work is not doing the best, and their energy and their belief system in themselves is why they're not performing. It has nothing to even do with the business.
Mhm.
So, working through those things and talking with them about their goals and what will make you thrive outside of this and how can we work on things for yourself, let's give you a roadmap for your personal and self development because it sounds like you need that structure in your own life. So sometimes with certain business owners too is maybe they thought at that time that this was the right thing for them, but now it's not because things have shifted. So I actually, in my intake form, I do ask, is there anything in your personal life that is going on that I need to know about? Because that is important.
Absolutely.
Because if
Mhm.
you're coming to a meeting and your energy is down and you're not telling me what's going on, you're not even paying attention to anything I'm saying.
Mhm.
So we're not going to be able to move forward. I need to know what's going on so that I know how to work through it with you. Maybe I need to break things down in a different way. Maybe we need to have additional meetings. You need additional support. These are very, very critical things because your own personal energy every single time will affect your business.
Yes, I completely agree. So, how can someone begin to feel like their higher self before their external reality reflects it?
Say that one more time.
How can someone begin to feel like their higher self before their external reality reflects it? So,
Yeah.
just like what we were talking about, if you have a business owner or you're talking to me, let's say, and I'm really down and I really want to reach that vision, let's say for Kinnery, right? But I'm not there. I'm not there. I really want it. I see it, but like, I can't do it.
Yeah. I think we need to discover what those blocks are and remove them internally because your energy and your belief system has to grow before you can achieve that. So it's like what we talked about earlier. I need to create the roadmap for you to get to that thing that you want. So, what are those steps that we have to take? So, internally, you have to work on your belief system, your energy. What are things that are filling your cup? Because you only have so much energy and you're only one person. So, for me, it's building the structure and steps to get there for you to finally feel like you can achieve that in baby steps and seeing mini results before that big picture. So we have macro goals. What are the micro goals that we're going to break that down to in order to get you there? And that's in every aspect of your life, financially, spiritually, emotionally, and structurally within your business too. So there's so many layers to that bigger picture. So it's really just breaking everything down into those micro goals. And I think doing the work internally so that your energy aligns to that. You have to step into that alter ego, but in order to step into that, you have to prepare yourself. It's like I used to also be a professional bodybuilder. So I couldn't just go step on stage because I wanted to. I had to prepare myself and make sure I was following something and I was really prepared and ready to do that.
How did you do that? That is so that's
Oh,
incredible. That's incredible. I need to see pictures.
I will show you. Yes, on my Instagram actually. It was a while ago now, so I'm like, oh, it's been like, 2021, 2022. I retired. I was going to come back, but yeah. I knew that it wasn't meant for me anymore energetically, and I was trying to force myself to make this comeback because I tore my ACL, I had surgery, had to learn to walk again, and I thought I wanted to make this big comeback and that it would be the coolest thing. And then I realized energetically that wasn't me anymore. That wasn't that part of me. That served a purpose in that point in my life. And I thought I wanted to keep up with that. I'm also very competitive. I thought I wanted to keep up with that persona of like being the fitness girl and business woman and, having it all. And I needed to release that. It's not about that anymore. Now it's just about continuing to build on the foundation I have created. So, yeah, for me, actually, bodybuilding was like a spiritual journey for me. You get stripped raw of all of your emotions. You can't eat what you want to eat. You can't drink. You can't do anything. You have to follow the exact program. Like I would cry eating because it was just so much. And there was so much release during that time too. So, yeah, it's a crazy experience.
That's amazing. That's a healthy way of letting things out though. It's
Yeah.
better it's better that you're doing that and not drinking and not doing drugs and not eating
Oh, yeah.
fast
No,
food
of
every minute.
course. That's for sure. That's for sure. But it makes you raw in a very different way.
That's so interesting. My God. I work out a lot and I weight train, but I really have a hard time being that strict. There was a time in my life where I was a very devout vegetarian in high school. And so I used to eat only the colors of the rainbow. Right. And I was a nut. I was an absolute nut. And I always had my separate food and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I burnt out and I realized I need to enjoy life,
Yeah.
And so now have found a really good balance, but it is a lot of discipline. And I think there's something to that, but it's not sustainable for a long period of time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For me, it served its purpose and I liked the challenge and it taught me levels of discipline that I had never achieved before. So now I feel like I have a really good willpower to say no.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
everything. For someone who feels stuck in an old version of themselves, where do they begin? I know you talked about we're going to build the roadblocks, but let's just say, what would be the first thing you would advise somebody to do?
When they feel stuck like
Anything.
within anything.
Well,
Yeah.
because in their business, if they're feeling stuck, then obviously something's going on in their personal life or in their subconscious mind.
Yeah. Well, if you're feeling stuck, you have to sit back and look at the big picture and once again break that down. What is a small change that you can make today that will move you towards that big picture that you're going towards? We often think about things in such a large scale. So if someone feels stuck, it's often because they're not changing anything. They're just repeating the same thing day in and day out. They're not trying to do anything to make drastic changes because their energy just doesn't even know where to go. So, where can we sit back and look at everything from top to bottom energetically in their business and say, okay, what's a small change that I can make right now that will help me move forward? And it's focusing on those smaller changes. In business specifically, feeling stuck, I think, has a lot to do with the vision not being clear anymore and making sure that we're around the right people that can help us maybe think outside of the box. Your brain is only one brain. So maybe get yourself out and talk with more people, be more open with more people, because it can give you inspiration and it can give you ideas. That's why I say it's always good to be a student at all times and put yourself in new environments, because it can remove that stagnant energy just by you getting up and doing something different first and foremost. And two, surrounding yourself with other people that might have ideas or motivate you or have this fire inside of them that projects onto you because they're embodying what you want to embody. So just like you were talking about earlier with your son, how you know that what you're embodying that positivity and those good things that you want him to be doing. So you know deep down that he's also going to be embodying that even subconsciously. So I think when you're stuck is you have to change your environment and you have to change what you're listening to. You have to change what you're looking at, change what you're eating, what you're drinking, like make little changes that are beneficial to you or maybe are new to you, like new experiences. Because that's where I find I've experienced the most growth when I'm stuck is putting myself in a different environment so that I know that this reality I'm living in right now isn't the only reality there is to live. Mm-hmm. So I start to put myself around people and places that I know are going to give me a different experience.
With your products, your alter ego mushroom products, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Alter Ego, I created to help people with really the core of anxiety and depression. So I suffered from anxiety severely when I moved here, actually. And I knew it was situational, and they automatically tried putting me on medication. And I found that that's what they tried to do very easily. Not saying that people do not need medication. However, I was discovering that it's just the first thing that, doctors try to do is put you on Zoloft, antidepressants, and be on your way. It'll fix your problems. You won't be depressed anymore, but you also might not feel like yourself. You also might have suicidal thoughts, and you might also just have no emotions at all. And I'm a very bubbly, funny, I like to be goofy personality, even though I look like a serious businesswoman. I'm like, there's no way I want to still have that side of me. And I knew that what I was going through was situational. So alter ego, I self-healed myself through my anxiety. I didn't take medication. And alter ego kind of fell into my lap at the same time I started my consulting company. And functional mushrooms is something that was brought to my attention that was helping a lot of people. And I was super interested in it. And back to my great grandmother, she was also a medicine woman. She would cure people with herbs and people that were sick, and she would create things. And so I felt once again called to that. And so functional mushrooms and alter ego was something that just kind of came to me one day. I said, I want to try this out. I want to help people. Once again, creating impact. My word is impact with both businesses. And if I can help people that I know get off antidepressants or prevent them from ever having to get on medication, I would love to do that. So I also wanted to build my own brand outside of my consulting company, because with consulting, I'm constantly building other people's brands. And so I started developing products. And these products actually help with increasing neuroplasticity in the brain, to help people with, I can't say, to help them with supporting anxiety and depression. It also helps with PTSD, but also focus. A lot of high level performers actually do dose. And it's something that most people are just not educated on. And there's so many clinical studies that are coming out now. You actually can go get ketamine drips, a psychedelic therapy. It's also a horse tranquilizer, which is crazy, but that's a chemical being put in your body. And for me, I'd rather put natural ingredients into your body, but this product helps with focus. It helps with just an alternative to what most people take a medication for. And it's just so transformative and helps people's lives. It's just incredible. And it's been a big passion project of mine that I've been working on for a while. So we also host sound baths and wellness retreat days, and I sponsor retreats. I work with different practitioners in the realm. So if people are interested in having my products at their retreats or at their events, we have it there as well. Everything is gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, but it tastes delicious. Ceremonial grade cacao as well. Yeah, my products are just meant to really help people bridge the gap between where they are now and where they want to be, whether that's more focus, less anxiousness, less triggers, and help them really grow. So, functional wellness and regenerative medicine is becoming so big, and I am in the aesthetics and wellness industry. So I'm constantly learning about this. I was just at the biohacking convention this weekend, and there was mushroom companies, peptide companies, all kinds of cool, fun stuff that was going on there. And it's just so incredible to see that this is actually coming to light and helping people. So Alter Ego was created off of that.
That's incredible. Did you ever experience a journey with mushrooms that was really like the pinnacle moment where you really saw yourself? Really
Yeah.
saw, yeah, would you mind going into that or is that okay?
No, yeah, of course. Yeah,
Okay.
I have. I haven't had like an ego death experience myself. It was really interesting. Like, no matter how much I had taken, I felt like what I experienced was just enough to be able to step into that. And what it does is it made me just think about everything that I was holding on to internally and realize that those things are not real unless I make them real. And those are all just things that are perceived either by someone else or that I've made up in my mind, or a wound that I'm holding on to. And it's like you get to look at yourself from like a 360 bird view. And really, for me, that's what it was. And is this who I really think I am? Like, I know that that's not who I am, or I know that that's not my belief system when it comes to like my confidence, or, how I'm going to get to the next level, and why do these things keep happening to me, and having that mindset. So I feel like I was looking at myself and just thinking about why I was feeling this way, because I knew it wasn't true. And I had the choice to make that change. And I think that's maybe also why now, when you ask me, like, how do you keep going when you feel these things and you're working through these things, is I just kind of think about that moment where I know that I am the creator of my reality. So even though I'm feeling this, it's not who I am. So it's just a layer that has to peel back. So for me, it wasn't like I was on the floor crying, or I felt like this crazy, everyone has a different experience. For me, it was just like I was looking at myself, and it's like I checked myself, and I was like, wait, I am the creator of my reality. I know who I am. I know my purpose. Now you have to come out of this and believe that. So that was my experience.
That's fascinating. I'm a huge proponent on plant medicine, and I just feel that God created this world, realm, whatever you want to call it, and provides everything we need. Whether we have beautiful animals around us, beautiful plants, and plants are so intelligent. So I truly believe that there's so much more to this.
There
I mean, we're
is.
we're just like at the tip of the iceberg.
It's so true. We're just scraping the surface. I
Yeah.
mean, look at peptides. Like, it's crazy, like the way that we're fragmenting different things with amino acids and branch chains and all of that. I'm like, mushrooms are doing that with your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Increasing neuroplasticity and neurons reconnecting, and it's incredible. And there's really like, it's different. You don't have to, it's not like marijuana. You don't have to smoke it. You don't necessarily have, other things that happen. But yeah, I love it. And for me, it's just the true purpose of helping people. That's where I've seen my seen it flourish the most, having the different products, but people just saying how much it's changed their life. And that's what makes me so excited about it, is just being able to create more impact. But yeah, with my experience, it's been like that. But I feel like the consistent smaller micro doses is actually where I've seen the biggest change. It's good to do a big journey, but being consistent after that, right? It's like going to get a facial, but then not doing your skincare. So you got to stay consistent.
Oh, I love that. Okay, sure. Sign me up. I'll get your products all the time.
Yeah, so big journeys are great. You'll have breakthrough moments, but then staying consistent in that, and seeing long-term results, you want to stay continuous.
Okay, good to know. Yay. So, what is the biggest mistake you see when people are trying to become the greatest version of themselves?
The biggest mistake. I feel like the biggest mistake is, see, it's a hard one for me to answer because I don't believe there's too many, because if it's what they believe they want in that moment, then that's what's meant to be. But I think the biggest mistake that people make is when they think they need to go after something just because everyone else is doing it and they think that's what's going to make them the most successful. But it's not really who they are at their core. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I'm in the aesthetics world specifically. So I think about people wanting to open a med spa, for example, and they think that they have to have all of these services and treatments that everyone else has just because everyone else is doing it, but they're not even actually passionate about it themselves in the first place, and they actually know nothing about it. So they're just doing it just because. So, and this can correlate to anything in business. And when you own a business, you're in sales. And if you're going to sell something, you have to believe it. And if you don't believe it, people are not, if you don't believe yourself, why are people going to believe you? So I think a big mistake people make is not staying true to themselves and actually going after what actually makes them happy, but thinking about others before themselves.
I,
Like, well, I
Mhm,
like this, but are other people going to like it? Like,
mhm.
I'm passionate about this, but are other people passionate about it? So it almost like they allow outside sources to cloud what they know they're excited or passionate about.
Yes, I see that. And for myself, what would you say, like, or give advice to people like me, spiritual entrepreneur, and who loves being a part of this matrix, but also really has such a deep regard for the spiritual side of life, for connecting to your divine self? That's really my aim in my life, my integrity,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
The highest virtues, but yet I could still live in this matrix and make a lot of money, but keep it aligned with myself. Because we're trained to believe if you have a lot of money, you become corrupt somehow, right? I
I
don't
don't
know.
believe that's you. You're allowing yourself to believe that.
Right, but that's what I grew up as, right? My
Hmm.
parents didn't have much, God bless them. They did the best they could, but it's always like wealthy people are different.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. They're doing something shady to be wealthy, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, a lot of successful people that I know are really stressed out
Mhm.
or very unhappy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, how do you balance it all?
Yeah. Well, I can't lie to you. No, I'm just kidding. Well, anytime, like I said earlier, anytime you're experiencing major growth or change, it will be stressful. So that's inevitable. You can't constantly be floating around and not, you know, be expected to just fall into your lap, right? So there is going to be stress when you want extreme success to a caliber. It doesn't mean that you have to experience it at all times, but it's really making sure that we have the structure and that path in place with the right people, so that in the beginning it will be the most stressful, but if you're setting the right foundation from the very beginning, it will make it much easier in the long run because it won't always have to be on you. So I think for someone like yourself, it would be more so making sure we're building that structure so that the company doesn't rely on you solely. Because you don't want that pressure, but you want the company, right? So you have to allow someone else to step into those roles that you don't want the pressure of. You can still oversee it to make sure that your vision is still there, that it's not being clouded, that the intention with the company is still there. But I would say take your vision and then maybe have someone else be an executor of the vision so that you can continue to live in your piece that you want to create. So what does that piece mean to you? Break it down. What do you like and what do you not like about your business? And then delegate that off, because we can't eliminate certain foundational structures that are 100% needed for a business to thrive, but it doesn't mean that you have to operate in those sectors that you don't like. So it's taking yourself out of being and usually the most stressful people that have this, it's because they're still the operator in their business at some capacity. So how do you take yourself out of that operator role and be a true business owner? And I think having those steps to get there. But I mean, when you're first building a business, you can't avoid the stress and the hard times, but going in with the right foot forward and the right people with you, and then being able to kind of phase it out and phase yourself out and still have that success.
Interesting. I always feel like I've trained myself to, do you know Maria Folio? Do you follow her?
No, I don't.
She's like the generation of like the Gabrielle Bernsteins. And she's like a motivational speaker and author. Anyway, she's great, but she's all business. She's all about
Mhm.
business. I love her. Anyway, she always says like, when you hate something, just reverse it in your head and say, you know what? I love this. I love doing QuickBooks. I get to do this, right? So I've trained myself to do that, to get through
Yeah.
these like really tedious things that I have to do. But it's funny because, yeah, she does give that advice because she
Yeah.
knows like people can really hate certain things about their business. And I
Yeah.
don't like to use the word hate, actually. Sorry.
Yeah. I know. I did that earlier. I said I
Yeah.
don't want to use that word either.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's an honor, and you have to look at everything in your business as an honor, right? Like, oh, it's an honor to get to, like you said, an honor to get to do this. It's a blessing. I have to wake up today and breathe another day, and I get to actually create my dreams. And it's so true that not everyone can actually. We know I say not everyone gets to. Everyone can create their dreams at one capacity or another, and even if it's those baby steps to get there, I understand that some people maybe have better opportunities that allow them to get there faster, but there are plenty of stories of majorly successful people where they came from very dark places that you would never think that they would get out of, right? So it's just waking up, knowing that you have certain capabilities and exercising those strengths and those capabilities, and recognizing that every part of what you're doing is for the greater good and for this mission and purpose that you know that you are accomplishing with your business. Because if you're a high level spiritual person, and you know that in your core, in your subconscious, you are operating with authenticity, integrity, and what you're creating is going to create impact, then you need to remember that every part of the business is meant to continue that. So we have to look at it that way. Like, okay, I know I don't like QuickBooks, I don't like numbers, but if I don't have QuickBooks and numbers, I can't make sure my purpose is felt, because that's a foundation that's needed in order to create that. And if we don't have that, that's going to create even more stress later down the road.
Wow. Wise words. Really. Thank you. That
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah. I just get downloads sometimes.
I can't wait for your book if you're ever going to write one.
Oh man, I could definitely write. I'm going to write a book. One day I will. That's
Yeah.
that's a part of my astrology. I've done some astrology work too, and different things that I'm meant to do on my path. Apparently that's one of them is speaking, writing a book, telling my story. I told a very like Cliff Notes version of my story tonight, and I've
Yeah.
been told so many times by spiritual coaches that I need to tell my whole story and not be ashamed of it. So one
Yes.
day I will.
Yeah, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think your story is the core of who you are or who you no longer are,
Hmm.
and how you broke out of that and how you used it as your power. Your story you can allow to define you, or you can allow it to empower you to be better, do better, create better for the future people in your life, future generations, whatever you feel called for. But I think that that's what is the biggest differentiator between successful people and people that truthfully choose to live in the victim mentality, is using your story and letting it empower you and letting it impact other people. We're all humans at the end of the day, and we're all living different experiences, but the story can really define the level of impact that you have on someone. I mean, I'm an example of that because people actually look at me and my family now, and maybe they meet me at this stage in my life, but they don't actually know where that came from or
Hmm.
how this
Hmm.
was developed. And we talked about that a little bit before, but that's why I think telling my story is important. The more successful you get, I think the more you should tell your story if you're trying to create impact, because you want to be relatable and you want people to know that you do understand and that you have those steps to get them there. For me, obviously, it's what I do for a living, right? So sometimes when people are at their lows and they're like, I don't know how I could ever get there. And when I'm mentoring people, I tell my story now because they're like, oh, yeah, right. That what she's doing, I could never do. It's not achievable. I'm like, that's what I thought 5 years ago,
Wow.
So, and it's just within a small amount of time. My mom, didn't become successful until like 6 years ago. So, and she's in her 50s. And so you really just never know where someone came from or what their story is. So I always encourage to tell it and not be ashamed. I'm still working on
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Me too.
it. Yeah.
And final question for you, beautiful Daniela. What does conscious beauty mean to you?
Oh, I love that. Conscious beauty. When I saw that, when I found out that your podcast name was Conscious Beauty, I felt that it felt like it was connected to me because I feel that what I do is that I'm in aesthetics, right? But what I do actually correlates energetically too. So I think conscious beauty is really connecting to that inner part of yourself that makes you feel like your best self, because that energy you're projecting is beautiful when you know that you feel love, you embody power, whatever makes you feel good and like yourself. And that's projected onto other people. So, and that's a beautiful thing when they just see that you are operating from your highest self and you are operating from your most authentic self. It's so beautiful to see. It has nothing to do with looks, it has everything to do with energy. So that's what I think about, when I saw that. I felt like it also related to me more so because like what I mentioned, what I do in aesthetics, right? I'm helping people become beautiful, but also it's because energetically it makes them actually feel that and embody that beauty so that it can pour into others. So I think it's more about energy.
Yeah, I love
Mhm.
that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Yay. I'm so honored to have had you share your truth today. Thank you so much. Where
Thank
can people find you?
Yeah, so you can follow my personal Instagram. It's Daniela with one L
Okay.
dot KG. And alter ego is alter ego dot wellness on Instagram as well. If you guys have any questions or just want to connect, please message me. And I'm more than happy to. I love meeting new people and creating impact. And if you have a business and you just want someone to chat with, we can do that too.
Fabulous. Well, I look forward to seeing you at a next event.
Yes.
Hopefully, we can collaborate together. I'm looking forward to that.
And
And I know you have some mastermind courses coming up.
yes, I do. So
Is
we
that more?
are doing a 6-week course that will
Hmm.
be tying in once again how to step into that identity, to step into the highest version of yourself within you and your business. And I'll
Okay.
be teaching the foundational structures. We did a master class, but we're going to go into a 6-week course, which then will lead into what I've been wanting to do for a very long time, a retreat. So, a retreat that is business and mindset, habits, stepping into your highest version of yourself. So, different workshops, different business growth opportunities, and also just to network and create community. So, I'll be doing those. And I actually have some mentorship programs we're launching and group consulting programs we're launching as well. So, it'll be mastermind, kind of like a mastermind, but more elevated and structured so that we can come together and just be in a room with other powerful people. Like I mentioned before, a lot of the time, we can be in all different types of businesses, but we have the same questions or same issues that we're facing. It's the business is a business. What are we selling? And, what are we talking about? So just have a chance to really experience and hear what other people have going on.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're remarkable. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, have a beautiful evening.
Thank you.